Hello, welcome to week 9 of Formational Leadership. One of the challenges of leading change in a church is that we want it to happen overnight. It's just not going to happen. Formational leadership is a long, lengthy process that can be trying, that can have curves, that can have pitfalls, but it's necessary. Think of it like raising kids. If you've never raised a child, you're going to be in for a treat. But that child is born to you, and for the next 18 to 25 years, that child is going to consume the majority of your time. There will be times of great joy in raising that child, but there will also be great challenges in raising that child. Any parent who has gone through puberty and the teen years knows that the child that you love can cause great pain. And it's the same way in the ministry in the church. Those of us who are trying to pastor churches, who are trying to lead formation and lead change in a church, deeply love the people that God has given us charge over. And God has given us a vision. That vision needs to be shared with the church. It needs to be bought by the church. But that doesn't mean everything is going to go smoothly. In fact, when you read Paul, his farewell letter to the church at Ephesus in Acts, he's saying that he struggled with them with many tears. That's what pastoring is like, and that's what leading change is like. It is a struggle. It is an ongoing struggle because people don't want to change. Change makes people uncomfortable, it makes institutions uncomfortable, and that is certainly true when it comes to churches that see the sacredness in everything they hold dear. It can be something as simply as taking the old statistic chart out of the church. You'll remember, at least when I was a child, most churches had kind of a wooden chart there where they could put Sunday school attendance and many other things that would be remind them of where they were, how many were in Sunday school, how many in morning worship, how many brought their Bibles. You start taking those things out, those things that they deem sacred, those things they deem essential, even though they're not essential, even though they're not sacred. It's a challenge. So what we've got to do is we've got to focus on the important things and understand that we are in a long-term change process. It's like raising a child from birth to adulthood, a long-term change process. With that in mind, you're going to continue reading in Branson's book on appreciative inquiry, hopes and memories. And you're going to begin looking in at the challenges of the Appreciative Inquiry Initiative. And when you're doing that, I want you to keep in mind that one of the most difficult challenges in this process is developing the right group to do the initiative inquiry interview and the process. And so pay careful attention to that. In addition to the reading of Branson's reading, I'm also asking that you view a sermon that I preached at the South Georgia camp meeting almost 10 years ago. The video is not as good quality as you might like. It just demonstrates how much things have changed in the last 10 years because when it was made, it was state of the art. But I would like for you to take some time to listen to the message. It's only about 35 minutes long. And the reason I want you to listen to it is because I'm dealing with challenges and possibilities as we develop a missional paradigm for our local church. And even though this was 10 years ago, I don't think much has changed. And I would be interested in hearing what you think of the presentation then, how it might affect us now, and even how things may have changed since then. So I'm hopeful that in the reading the Branson material and viewing the message that we get this sense of what it means to initiate change, to stay focused on our mission for a long term. This is the point. Leadership is about longevity. To my mind, that is why so many leadership initiatives fail. We do it a year, we do it 2 years, and we think that that's long term. This is what you need to understand. And the first time I heard this came from none other than the great Paul Walker, pastor of the Mount Perrin Church of God several years ago. I was privileged to do some work with him and some consulting with him and spend 4 or 5 days with him, and we had a lot of great conversations. This was when Dr. Walker was initiating the Church of God School of Ministry Certificate of Ministerial Studies project. And I never will forget something he said. He said, anytime you begin a new initiative, it takes 7 years. 7 years. So keep this in mind. Leadership formation is about longevity. New initiatives require 7 years. Don't start this process of change in a local congregation unless you're willing to stay for the duration, because it will end up being aborted and it will end up being a failed process. So you need to have a timeline. You need to have a timeline in this leadership process that demonstrates what your goals are, when you're going to be able to achieve those goals, and what you imagine the process will look like at the end. I look forward to hearing from you. God bless you.